There we go. Back to lifts as normal. I tell you something. A lot fucking goes on at these bodybuilding shows you might not freaking expect. You know, I'm talking incredible wins. Right? Let's get real. If you were Derek Lunsford, aka the arguably, at least, you know, top echelon open bodybuilder in the world currently, that has got to be quite the feeling. Sitting up there on stage, you don't know if you're really going to win it yet. They're about to say your name, everybody's screaming. Yeah, that's that's cool to watch, that's for freaking sure. So he's on track to kill it this year. Arnold, Pittsburgh Pro. I don't think he's doing New York, but I guess honestly that would probably be the craziest year for somebody if they could win the Arnold, the Pittsburgh Pro, the New York Pro, and then the Olympia. Those are some of, if not the biggest shows in the States, at least. Right? They're all kind of sort of the ones that pull everybody out of the woodworks to come check out. But awesome expo. Now we can just get back to normal. And frankly, that's going to, expo-wise, Pittsburgh's going to be on the radar years and years going forward now. I mean, as just the first one, with the turnout that they had, I mean, yeah, I would almost expect that they'd want to change venues just to make sure they'll have enough space for everybody next year, because I'm sure it'll be a bit more, let's just say a bit larger. But, you know, got a year to see. Right? But plan for tonight with arms. Yeah, let's beef these things up. Triceps first, biceps afterward, and then just make sure I go crazy. You know, I can tell I'm still a little kind of just generally fatigued from kind of standing and talking to everybody for the last 2 days. Plus my sleep was a little encumbered. Me and her stayed up way too late going to the gym at like 11 2 nights ago or so. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, it's rare seeing these guys come across the freaking dip all the way over here. So it's always cool when we get to work out. I'm sure we'll make a trip over to Germany to check out his gym eventually. But that's I mean, if I think a 45-minute drive to American Barbell is a long trip just for a lift, you know, 12 hours overseas, that's a little bit big too. But we'll get there. Because I forget how many. When I asked him how big his gym was, he said square meters, so I don't know how to translate it exactly. But if you haven't seen the Urs gym tour video, dude, that thing is freaking filled up, right? And if you didn't watch the video or yesterday, or wait to see whichever video he posts about our lift together, dude, absolutely fucking massive, right? I mean, everybody who was stopping at the line, like, dude, Sam, you're way freaking bigger in person. You gotta see Urs standing next to me. I mean, he's freaking filled up. He's wearing like what would normally be like kind of a baggy windbreaker on any, you know, kind of normally shaped dude. This guy may as well be wearing a freaking compression shirt with a zipper the way he just kind of fills it up. So I can most certainly expect him to bring it come October, which I should be, yeah, I guess we're going to recreate the same Olympia situation as last year, because he's going to be as peak, you know, dieted down and peeled as he'll be, because that'll be Olympia weekend for him, and that's going to be basically the end of my off season. So I'll just be as big as I'm going to freaking be. But yeah, that's one thing that I was kind of bringing up a lot whenever anybody was asking me, you know, got any, just not anything specific, just baseline motivation lifter wise. You know, it's just me. It's not always extra fun, because I mean these expos and all these videos where we all get to go hang out with each other and talk, like, that's the fun part, right? But nobody would be there, at least, you know, nobody in the space like us or the real competitors or everybody else. They wouldn't be there without all the lifts that they did beforehand to actually get to that position, you know. So it's kind of a work hard, play hard kind of situation. And now I'm getting more so on the play hard side of things, of getting to hang out with everybody. So that's extra fun. And this, come summertime, especially once Mark's back, I think we're gonna make it a pretty high ass priority to, you know, kind of go around and basically just get lifts with as many of everybody as freaking possible. Right, we're getting about due to leave the nest, especially after hitting the like over 800, basically 99% just Sam lifts. Yeah, we gotta break out the mold here, because that'll be the extra fun part. Plus, when you get to lift with anybody who's way bigger than you, or just like, you know, in a different kind of situation, I mean, honestly, I can't think of anything more motivational. You know, what I was about to say was, like, you know, when I was kind of asking when these guys were asking me, like, what would you say to kind of get me going when I'm not really feeling it? It's like, don't forget, man. Every year that I get to, you know, come up here and see everybody in all these congregations, or anytime you get to come to an expo or anything else, I mean, you never know what can happen, right? I mean, 3 Arnolds ago, me and a bunch of my buddies from Miami, we all get tickets. We're all driving up. We, yeah, it's funny. We kind of bribed one of the security guys. I wouldn't recommend you do this, of course, right? Maybe, I don't know if they'd get you in trouble or not, but we kind of snuck in front of a line. I got some old pictures of me with Jay Cutler right back after I was doing a couple of, just a couple of off seasons. So I was still, I was getting there. Not as big as I am now, but, more like a 230 kind of character. And, 2 years after that, we're walking around backstage. I get to tell him I finally went pro. Oh man, it's freaking awesome. So all that's to say is, these little highlights when we get to go places and, see everything and get to hang out, that's fun, right? It's fun just getting to chat with everybody. They've all been down at least a very similar path, fitness-wise, social media-wise, but don't forget, man, after that's over, after everybody goes back home, goes back to where they're coming from, it's back to the grind. And the more you can think of it not as a grind, almost the better, right? So what I'm trying to get at there is, like, regular lifts, cardio, calories, everything else, macro tracking, weighing shit on the scale, getting into meal prepping, that should be your baseline. That should be something where it's not a complete chore to do. It's just part of your day. You wouldn't think putting your shoes on is the worst freaking chore in the world. It's just what you do. And if you can think about it like that, even if it actually is a chore, right? Because I'm not saying it's completely easy to do all that, but if you can just almost identify as though that's just what you do, that's a normal day for you, that's how you roll, nothing's going to stop you, that's just what's going to happen. You'd think it would kind of be the opposite, that the more you work out and the more that you get into something, the more you kind of lock in, the more it starts to kind of take over your life and your days. But it's almost as though you begin to run on a certain level of autopilot where you don't have to really think about it, right? It's just what you do, man. And then that kind of becomes your sort of natural state of being. And when else are you going to perform the best except for when you're absolutely in your element? I mean, it's to the point now where I feel like, I mean, I can put myself back a couple years. We're on a trip down to, down to Florida to see my grandparents. And I'm like a few months into actually working out. I'm still working out in a tank, maybe 165, maybe, and I'm, actually, no, I might have been a little bigger. I might have hit 175 by now. But I was hitting shoulders somewhere. Shoulders and, no, not legs. It must have been just shoulders. But I'm at like this, it may as well have been like an LA Fitness, but it was its own kind of just regular fitness center. And I remember being kind of nervous walking in there. It's like I got something to prove. Sure, I'm still kind of a beginner, but it's like I want to really get after it. And it was funny. I remember my parents kind of look at me later, and they're like, "Shit, man, you're getting big. You're starting to fit in with all these guys." So yeah, time's gonna pass anyway. So if you can get yourself on just there's a phrase, there's like a quote to describe it, but you can get yourself on this path of getting that little 1%, little jumps better on the daily, on the regular, and that's just what you do. Before you know it, you're going to be freaking miles ahead of where you ever could have thought you could have got to. And it'll happen before you know it. And if you don't lock in, same shit. But then you'll realize that the opportunities passed you by, and it's not like it's too late. It's never too late. But let's be real, we've only got a finite amount of time to get after it, especially in your in your prime, right? So all I can say there is the sooner the better. But I think nothing else left to say. Let's just go bust out some P-Fit arms. No need for anything crazy, especially since I'm feeling kind of fatigued anyway. So what better start than light squeezing rope extensions? And even when I'm feeling strong, I kind of like starting with these anyway because they're a good warm-up. If I go to launch a full stack with 2 plate stops on the side of straight bar pushdowns, what are the odds I'm going to wrench my elbows? Versus warming up with light squeezing stuff, burning out, pre-exhausting, then I won't even need so much weight later because the weight will feel heavier. Right? So obviously there's 2 ways to look at it. Heavy weight is heavy, but if you pre-exhaust, then lighter weight is heavy. I don't think one's better than the other, but I do both. So let's start here. And I really want to hold these 2 because this is actually kind of a lighter stack. But I think nothing else to talk about except for getting a good song playing. Let's see if Spotify Discover Weekly has anything to listen to today. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, probably 2 more. And then I think the dip machine is calling my name for later. Boy. Okay. Oh my God, all right, 1 more. Okay. Oh my God. What do you think? If you were me, would you do dips next or straight bar pushdowns next? Let me think. Give me a second to decide. It's not the biggest decision, but I'm not totally sure. All right, come on. Yeah. 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 Oh my God. Wow. 1 more at least. Honestly, probably 2. This goes freaking sweet. Yeah. 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 Oh, one more. Let's get a little tricep preview. Roll up these freaking sleeves. Oh, at least the left one. Oh. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Actually, shit. No. One more. One more push down set. Then we'll get start curling. Okay. All right. Let's start curling. Tries done. Not typically a double arm preacher curl machine fan, right? Usually I like doing one hand or kind of crooked style, but today feels good. So I think let's start with kind of a moderately weighted set, heavy, but not rip your biceps off heavy. And while I'm fresh, I want at least a momentary hold at the top, right? And that's something I do try to think about, especially with lighter body parts or lighter movements, leg extensions, tricep extensions, flies, pull downs, or pullovers, right? Because you can do a rep, you get to the top of it, whatever, you keep going. But two guys can do identical looking sets, but the results can be very different if one guy gets an extra emphasized flex at the top. There's no extra range of motion. He's not moving the weight any further, but he's contracting harder. And even if you get the same number of reps, I promise it's a better set. And pump-wise, let's just say it'll be hard to go back instead of just moving shit around. Be a little more thoughtful. But let's go nuts here. Nuts in a controlled manner. All right. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. A few more just like that. Not moving the pin, but I'll take this piece off. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Actually, let's just camp out here. This feels freaking perfect. 2 more minimum, and then I might finish with like dumbbells or something. If it works, it works. That's for freaking sure. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now, let's keep these up. Yeah, this is because like it's heavy, but I don't feel like I'm gonna rip my freaking biceps off heavy. Yeah, this is nice. Wonder what the strength curve is like. Either way, this is the only movement for biceps today. That's it. Okay. One more. I lied though. Let's finish with cable curls way over yonder. But one more here. Frankly. Yeah, this is sweet. No need to move around. Okay. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right. Let's go do the finisher. And I'm ready to freaking pose down. Sweet late arm day, that's for sure. All right, let's go. So, I wouldn't do this every curl movement. It's a little silly. Man, well, not silly. That's not the right word I'm thinking. But you can't load this a ton. All right, this isn't like a dumbbell curl or a barbell where you can really wrench and put your freaking weight into it. But as a finisher squeezing just burnout set, this is nice. Plus, it looks cool. Not an advantage you should freaking neglect. And pick a better song now. Boy. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's enough. Technique wise, I'm trying to pull my palms behind my head. If I do this, I get like a weird amount of chest. It turns into like a weird crunch. So that's my cue form wise. Nothing else to discuss except for just how much blood I've gotten into my arms. So let's get this freaking shirt off. All right. So if you're the type to be lifting at a P-Fit, I'd say make nice with whoever's working there, because then they might let you pose down, right? It depends on the place, but you know, this is kind of, it's supposed to be a safe space lifting wise. They don't want a bunch of freaking grunts making a, you know, madhouse out of it. But, you know, 10:30 on a Tuesday, nobody's freaking out. You know, don't sweat it. Not even going shirtless. It's not like it's a rule you can't wear stringers. It might just be slightly frowned upon. But let's run through a couple here. It takes a while to get used to losing some of the vascularity and graininess that comes with dieting down. But given that that's sort of the trade-off for actually making real ass freaking progress, you know, not just sitting around getting soft for no reason, you know, it can be managed, right? Just the only downside of bulking. Oh my gosh. All right, well, we are pumped to SHIT. I think nothing else to discuss except getting home and making a damn steak with some potatoes. Potatoes already cooked, but I'll try not to burn myself with hot oil like I've got a freaking bad habit of doing. Either way, let's roll. There we go. All right. So if you're watching this the night of, right? So I've got a little deep dive for any camera nerds out there, anybody getting into posting. It's like, all right, man, I'm about to start my TikToks. Let's up the game. Phone ain't worth it, right? I need that freaking HD 4K quality. And to that, I would say, start with your phone first, right? You got a pretty damn decent camera just on there anyway, right? Much easier to kind of justify a $15 tripod order from Amazon before you buy a camera and then let it sit on your desk because you never end up actually freaking using it. But after that, let's say you're actually into it. It's like this is your thing, or maybe just kind of interested in photography anyway. It's like, man, which freaking camera do I buy? Do I buy all the fancy ones? Do I get the most newest Sony A1, which is like it's like a $6,500 freaking camera? I wouldn't go that crazy. Frankly, the benefits body-wise, right? I mean, they're getting better, right? But it's slow. Honestly, regular-ass consumer camera technology is pretty much just pretty freaking good. Right? Nothing's really going to make it better. The fancy part is right here, right? When I'm looking at the lens, all the glass, that's what makes the camera look different than your regular phone, because your phone lens is tiny, right? It's only got like this much little bits and pieces in it. So that's why all the freaking, I mean, it gets crazy, right? More than you can imagine. All the cameras, all the lenses of guys who actually film movies with, I'm talking like Tarantino, freaking, Spielberg, all those guys. I mean, these, just one lens alone, it doesn't zoom or anything. It just sits there, $150,000 or like, $100,000. They're nuts. So there's like massive companies where they make these insane pieces. They don't even sell them. They're only rentable because it takes so much to get into it. But all I'm trying to get at there is I'd say do a deep dive into lenses, because that's what gives you that kind of cool blurry look in the background. And I like that because then I'm not really in people's personal space as much, because it's if it's blurrier in the background and I'm the only thing in focus, then you're not really like doxing anybody, right? It's because you're honestly being a little wild bringing the camera out in the gym anyway. I mean, technically at any gym everybody's already being recorded because the gym has security cameras, but it's not the same, right? So let's I guess my only tip is, if you're about to start bringing the camera out or a tripod, make sure it's somewhere where you're not really bothering anybody, and just try not to end up on a Joey Swole video. That's when you've done something wrong. And if enough people tell you you're an asshole, then odds are they're probably freaking right. But yeah, I'd look into some of the lenses, like some Viltrox stuff, some because I mean that's what you're looking for. But that's a good fun part about it. I get to do a deep dive every time I get to like work out with anybody and they've got their camera guy. For me, it's simple, right? I put it on the tripod and let it sit. But I get to nerd out talking with everybody about like, oh well, this one's super cool, but it's so big. Like, oh, you using this brand? I hate their menu system. That's one thing that's kind of cool for me. I've kind of that's where I become a freaking full-on dang videographer. Next time Mark should do it. I think me and Mark got to go golfing sometime, and then I'll record some of his stuff. He's got a tournament tonight, or kind of like a qualifier sort of thing. So wish him freaking luck. Not tonight, but I think actually earlier today and tomorrow. Yeah, you can freaking hit that thing. If I'm like, I don't remember. I went to Topgolf a while ago, and I was getting into the groove where I could actually hit it pretty straight, pretty consistently. I got like 15 good ones in a row. And then my forearms and my chest started getting real kind of sore and tight because I'm not used to that kind of movement. and I totally lost it. But like me hitting it as hard as I could, you know, obviously unpracticed, right? Like I get the gist, you know, left arm straight, head down, don't move, whatever. But I think I could only hit it like not 200. No, I think I was in, well, I don't remember. I should have taken a picture. But he's smacking this thing 300 freaking yards or over. Yeah, that is freaking cool. But I'll dabble. Honestly, next time I'm dieted down, I think I might do some practice with him, because that'd be fun, right? Everybody freaking golfs. I gotta get the gist, see if I can work on my short game. I tell you what, I've got not zero. We used to golf when we were kids. My dad would bring me and my brother to this local range we got, and I was okay. Mark was a little bit better. I think I might have hit a birdie. No, I don't think so. Probably not. We probably weren't even really counting back then. Still just trying to get the gist. But yeah, that's one thing where muscle might not help too much. But it's not something to neglect either. I mean, Tiger was out there freaking, you know, working out and running freaking miles every day. And DeChambeau is getting pretty big as well, right? Those guys are, it's still kind of a combination of power and finesse. I feel like in the scheme of things, anybody who's a real, like, fast twitch kind of athlete like that, they're a little more like a supercar. Whereas I think I'm a little more akin to like a diesel truck. Like I can handle heavy loads, but I need them to be slow and in a controlled manner, right? Like frankly, I think if somebody wanted to really tussle me or do like a full-on sprint, something would give. Because you know I've got to deal with accelerating my whole freaking body, and you know you put me on a hamstring curl, that's my element. You put me on a damn track or like something else, maybe freaking not. But no, I'm getting excited for it to warm up, because then they're gonna open up the public pool. Like me and Mark can bust out some shit at the diving well. I keep having dreams about it. I'm getting kind of excited, because that was my thing for freaking years. Frankly, like 8-year-old kid to 19-year-old college student, freshman year. Yeah, it's freaking fun. I swear I still got it too. Once some of the guys at the expo were kind of saying, it's like, dude, Sam, there's no freaking way you can still do those flips. Yeah, how about this? Just wait for it, right? I gotta limber up, but the diving board's cool because it's very slow, controlled force, right? It's not like you're jumping off of a just like a little platform or like concrete, because it's very slow. Because if you're really jumping high, it's like you're just kind of freaking floating through the air. But yeah, so that'll be fun. We'll get into all sorts of freaking shenanigans this summer. That is absolutely the freaking plan. So now post-workout meal, slam it, and then get some sleep. I can tell I'm light. Woke up light this morning, only 260 from standing around at the expo all day the last couple days and not getting enough food. Right? That's I'm not exactly sure how many pounds I can fluctuate, but whatever size you are, at least relatively lean, like your lean mass weight, you've got a certain amount of pounds. It's probably like some kind of percentage, maybe 5%. No, well, yeah, maybe either way, a couple percentage of your total weight in pounds of just water and glycogen and intramuscular carbs. Where if you don't get as many meals in, or you don't hit your calories as consistently as you have been, then you can either drop down or like really shoot up. So in either case, it's kind of an inverted situation. If you're trying to bulk, you have a couple days where your intake's pretty low, or you're just busy, maybe you were sick with something, you're going to shoot down a couple of pounds. You didn't lose muscle, but you did lose some intramuscular water and carbs, which you got to get back on track meal-wise to fill back up with. Because as far as I'm concerned, with my like how I think about it, is my best scenario to gain muscle and get bigger is when I'm fully carbed up and I've got a lot of intramuscular kind of stored energy to really not only fuel the workouts but also fuel the recovery afterward, right? So I want to be in full carbed up state as much as possible. And then dieted down, it's the complete opposite, right? If you've got a lot of intramuscular carbs, because your body stores like pounds of glycogen throughout it, right? Because that's what you're running. That's like the main conversion that, you know, goes through your mitochondria, makes ATP, actually makes all your freaking muscles move around, right? Carbs are your easiest source to break down. So obviously if you're dieted and then you suddenly eat a ton of sugar, right? You eat a ton of carbs, you're not going to be burning so much body fat. You're going to run through those carbs first, you know, the muscular glycogen. So it's like if I want to grow, I want my freaking muscle sugar tanks full. And if I want to get leaner, I want them to be a little more empty, right? That's why we talk about being full or being flat. So, I mean, you know, some guys like to argue if you really leverage fasted cardio and steady state, you know, long, like 45 minutes, then you'll burn fat without eating into your glycogen. I think they might be onto something, right? I would never say they're not, of course. I mean, some of these guys have been freaking in the bodybuilding space for years. Right? Experience does play a solid role in, you know, knowing what you're talking about. But, you know, I think that's a reasonable kind of analogy to imagine, right? Because if I eat a bunch of food when I'm dieted, have a big-ass cheat day, I'm not screwed. I didn't just gain 6 pounds of fat when I wake up the next morning heavier, but I did fill up all those tanks, which now I need to kind of get back down to empty, so I start running on more internal energy, right? AKA body fat. You know, so if you got a couple days where you're off, you were busy, something happened, you know, you can't be totally on your shit dieting wise, right? You're not screwed. Do not think that the world is freaking ending. But just get back on track and you're good. Right? A little detour never hurt anybody. But that's, you know, assuming that you get yourself back in line, you know, and keep dieting down, right? I mean, I had some wild cheat days in my last, you know, dieting prep, but the ratio of on my shit days to crazy balls to the wall, just like eat whatever's in sight, get it out of my system days is like this. Tiny, only a couple of these and about 140, 150 of these, you know, so make sure that ratio is on, because dieting wise, it's a class where you've got to get a minimum grade requirement to pass, right? It's not like you can get a C- and you still get credit. You got to be on it just about 90% of the time. But like I was saying in the car on the way here, the sooner you can get that to be just like how you roll, the better. Because half of it is like convincing yourself not to complain about it. You know, if every time I took the food scale out, I said to myself in my mind, oh, I don't want to weigh this shit out, how likely do you think it is that I'm going to keep doing it? Eventually, I'm just going to convince myself this is a chore, I don't want to do it, I won't do it. Boom, gains just got derailed. Whereas, you know, I'm getting some food, don't even think about it, just grab it, weigh it out, plug it into the macro tracker. That's the way to do it, I feel, right? You want to give yourself a routine that's smooth enough that you can actually do it consistently. But half of that is, you know, just getting yourself into that routine anyway. You know, so it's kind of a fine line, because if you overdo it and you burn yourself out, then you're screwed. But if you take it too easy on yourself, then you're never going to make any progress in the first place. So there's that fine line in the middle, where if you can imagine yourself where you want to be in the future, or just look at anybody else who you want to kind of emulate their results and, you know, kind of picture what it's going to take to get there, easy ass motivation, right? It's going to be a lot easier for me to put down meals when I'm not really feeling extra hungry, knowing that Urza's ass is like 25 pounds heavier than me, and I'm not even, you know, I still got a whole off season left, right? So that's a good hype up kind of idea that gets me going. So eventually you get to the point where you're watching a TikTok edit while you're grubbing, just to kind of get you into the zone of it. That's something I didn't expect to be able to say. But either way, good arm day, getting back on the regular routine, and I can foresee I will be 266, maybe 265 or so in just a few days, back on my regular kind of gradual schedule. So today was just a little blip, and they're back on track, right? But, you know, don't throw yourself off momentum-wise, because momentum is awesome once you build it up. But if you let anything slow you down, you start to throw you off your game. But that's all I got. Tomorrow will be just a hamstring day. A little bit more chill, but I think I'm gonna branch out somewhere, get some adductors, calves going as well. Really just totally wreck my whole posterior chain, minus glutes. I'm not the guy to watch for glute training. I mean, I'm sure I could get the gist of it, but I'm not there yet. I want my trunks of my legs to get bigger. I don't really need a bigger badonkadonk. So that's one thing where the 4.8% female viewers, you got to branch out. You got to find somewhere else to watch for those workouts. But yeah, I'm sure you can find somebody. So either way, I'll see you freaking tomorrow.